Hello, hello, my weekend readers. Today I will be reading There Might Be Lobsters by Carolyn Crimi, illustrated by Laurel Molk. Now remember, after I read this book, I'm going to ask you a question, and you should write down the answer to that question in your agenda so I can check it over next week. So this is There Might Be Lobsters. "Come on, Suki, you can do it," said Eleanor. She stood at the bottom of the stairs to the beach and waved to Suki. I think Suki might be the dog. But Suki was just a small dog, and the stairs were big and sandy. Oh. And she hadn't had lunch yet, and her foot hurt a little, and she might get a shell stuck up her nose, and she might tumble down on her head, and then she'd need stitches, and besides, there might be lobsters. So Suki sat at the top of the stairs with Chunka-Munka by her side. Look at Chunka-Munka. "Oh, all right," said Eleanor. She picked them both up with a tsk and a huff and carried them down the stairs. Have you ever had to do that with one of your pets? I have. "Come on, Suki, you can do it," said Eleanor. She tossed a beach ball Suki's way. Uh-oh, you can see what Suki feels, how she feels about that. But Suki was just a small dog, and the beach ball was big and beachy, and it might hit her nose, and then it would pop, and it might be too loud, or it might knock her down, and she might never get up again, and she might have to live on the beach forever and eat seaweed to survive. And besides, beach balls attract lobsters. So Suki sat far away from the beach ball with Chunka-Munka by her side. "Oh, Suki." Eleanor swooped that pup up with a tsk and a huff and cradled her in her arms. "Come on, Suki, you can do it." Eleanor stood at the water's edge and splashed a little splash at Suki. But Suki was just a small dog, and those waves were big, and they were whooshy, and they were salty, and they were too wet, and they might toss her out to the middle of the sea, and she might float all the way to Tasmania or even Florida, and she might be swallowed by a whale, and she wasn't wearing a bathing suit, and besides, there might be lobsters. So Suki sat at the edge of the water with Chunka-Munka by her side. "Oh, Suki," said Eleanor. She shook her head and dove into the waves. Look how much fun Eleanor is having. Suki sat and watched beach balls bouncing and big boys running and umbrellas flapping and lifeguards blowing loud whistles and waves splashing with Chunka-Munka. You can see how much fun everyone else is having, but not Suki. Floating out to sea. Susie barked for Chunka-Munka to come back. Chunka-Munka started to sink. Uh-oh. Suki started to paddle. She paddled past a big beachy ball and through a huge salty wave and over something that might even be a lobster. Ooh, Suki, until she had Chunkamunka. He was safe. Suki had saved him. Ooh. She felt braver than the bravest dog, because even though she was very small, Chunkamunka was smaller. "Oh, Suki, I knew you could do it," said Eleanor. She picked them both up with a yay and a hooray and swung them very gently through the air. Suki sat in the sandy sand with the wavy waves and watched for lobsters with Chunkamunka by her side. Look at how she looks different now. And they didn't see one all day. The end. Oh, what a wonderful story. I love this book. There Might Be Lobsters by Carolyn Crimi, illustrated by Laurel Mulk. All right, thanks so much for listening. Here is my question. Was there ever a time that you were really nervous about something? Like really, really nervous, but then you did it and you were okay? If that has ever happened to you, write it down in your agenda so I can read it over next week. Thanks so much for tuning in, my weekend readers. Have a lovely weekend. See you later.